Whether it's Counter-Strike,
He still gets the kill. It almost looked like Skadoodle had actually come out on top there. What a flick coming in. Shroud getting one another headshot. He's tapping away. Shroud.
Valorant,
He's firing out.
Dead.
One enemy remaining.
or even content creation,
Ready for some fun right here? Oh my God! Help me! What's happening?
Shroud is undeniably one of the GOATs of FPS gaming. But with all great things, there always is negatives, and Shroud is no different. From overcoming hardship as a young kid and eventually rising to the top of competitive esports, this is the entire story of Shroud. Michael Shroud Jurczyk was born on June 2nd, 1994 in Toronto, Canada. But his family didn't stay there for too long. They moved to Mississauga at a young age, which is a smaller city neighboring Toronto. Mike got into gaming at a very young age because his dad was super into computers and gaming, so he grew up around a lot of tech.
I always had like new tech. I had like some crazy MP3 player that played video. It was just weird. My dad was just huge on building computers.
Because of his dad's love for building computers, Mike never went through a console phase like most players do. His dad was also the one who introduced him in the first place to Counter-Strike.
I was born on a mouse and keyboard. I mean, I was, to be fair. I really was born on a mouse and keyboard.
It was clear at a very young age that Michael was already really good at video games, but I don't think anyone could have predicted how good he really would be. As he grew up, he continued to dedicate a lot of his time to video games, rarely ever leaving the house. But unfortunately, not everything was exactly perfect for him at home. His parents actually got divorced when he was 11 or 12 years old.
I was smart enough to know that it was happening because they were just arguing every day. And then just one of these days it turned into a terrible argument, and then my mom left, and then she was gone for like a few weeks.
So Mike moved in with his dad a majority of the time, but as time went on, his grades really started to slip, especially once he entered high school. His grades dropped so much that his parents decided it was actually best for him to move in with his mom.
So when that happened, I went to Cuba and I was like, oh, this is great. I came back from Cuba, I went to my dad's house, and all of my whole room was just empty. There was nothing there. It was all gone. And I was like, what happened? Where's my stuff? And it was my mom's place.
But luckily, it seems like things have worked out quite well for Mike. Despite the small hiccup with the schoolwork, he was still allowed to play video games. CSGO's closed beta went live on November 30th of 2011, and it was initially limited to only 10,000 players, but as time went on, more and more people slowly got access to the beta. Obviously, when the beta came out, there were some mixed responses. Luckily though, Valve listened to their players, and the game got better with every update. Mike though was one of those first players who got involved during the beta.
I played the beta. My friend actually bought it for me because I was over Counter-Strike at that point. I was just not digging it. So I didn't feel like giving Counter-Strike Go a shot because I was so disappointed with Source, Counter-Strike Source. The beta was pretty bad, but I still had a good time with it. It was fun to play Counter-Strike again.
Before he got back into CSGO, Mike was actually a huge World of Warcraft fan, but honestly back then, who wasn't? That game was addicting. Anyway though, it was around this time that Mike started streaming. His Twitch account under the name Shroud was created November 3rd, 2012. But funnily enough, Shroud wasn't always supposed to be his gamer tag.
My handle before used to be Eclipse, and how I came up with that was just, I feel like I was in a pub back in 1.6, a public server, and I saw someone with the name Eclipse, and I was like, I'm stealing it. I want it. I like it.
And he definitely did not blow up right off the bat. Back in 2012 or 2013, streaming wasn't really even a thing yet. People certainly knew about it and were watching streamers, but it wasn't really as normalized as it is today. And it took quite a while for him to build any sort of real audience. A lot of his following actually came from his success in the CSGO competitive scene. Shroud started to get a lot of attention in the esports community through playing on Extras Esports and Monojuma.
So Exertus I joined right after my main season. I was really good friends with Flom, gave me a shot. We did a little tryout for like a week or two. I think we were last in the season. And then Manajumas messaged me, and it actually took me like 4 days before I gave him an answer because I didn't want to leave. It was my first invite semi-pro team, so I didn't want to leave them and screw them over. You know, they have no fifth player.
But he quickly outgrew those teams and joined Cloud9 on August 1st of 2014.
Who actually was the first to reach out to you to join C9?
It was my ex-teammate, which was Dborn.
Oh yeah.
Dborn was messaging me, and he was getting the messages through one of you guys. I don't know who it was. So Dborn, I didn't even know I was going to join the team I just finished the regular season with Manajumas, and then a week after, Dborn messages me and says, hey, do you want to join Complexity? Which is Cloud9 now. And I was just like, of course, yeah.
Shortly after being signed, Shroud would start his very own YouTube channel as well. His first video ever was posted December 21st of 2014. And these videos did really well. That last clip has 235,000 views. And every single video he uploaded from that point on would easily pass 100K views, sometimes even getting millions. That was a massive deal back in 2014, and at this point, he wasn't even being consistent with his uploads. Just a couple of clips or stream highlights here and there. Shroud quickly became known for his insane aim. It was good, really good. Of course, every pro player is supposed to have good aim, but Shroud's ability to hit headshots was off the charts, almost inhuman. His clips always went viral on Reddit, earning him the nickname King of Reddit. But just because he was gaining popularity on Twitch doesn't mean Shroud was completely ignoring his professional career. In fact, he was making a name for NA and CSGO. After he joined Cloud9, they were placing way better than ever imagined. But the team really made history on October 30th, 2016 at the ESL Pro League Season 4 final. In the group stage, Cloud9 did just well enough to move on to the quarterfinals, but once they got to the playoffs, they absolutely dominated the competition, beating both Optic Gaming and Mouse Sports 2-0. But in the final match, they had to go up against SK Gaming. This team had a home field advantage, a Brazilian team playing in Brazil, and they were by far the favorite team to win. However, Cloud9 had other plans.
He's looking down toward the door. He's in the open. It's automatic to give Cloud9 Season 4. That's so heartbreaking, but they are your Season 4 champions.
Cloud9 ended up winning 2-1 against SK Gaming and taking home the first place prize along with $200,000. This win was massive for the NA Counter-Strike community, and it truly showed that NA can be just as good as any other region in the game. But following this win, Shroud wouldn't stay a pro player for much longer. On August 15th of 2017, Shroud stepped down from C9's main roster to pursue streaming as his full-time endeavor. At that time, he already had 1 million followers on Twitch, so the decision was kind of a no-brainer. Luckily, there was no bad blood or anything between Shroud and Cloud9, and the org seemed to be super supportive of Shroud's new focus.
I messaged Jack and I was like, hey, Jack's the owner of Cena, by the way. I was like, hey, I kind of want to step down. I would love to be your guys' backup. I want to see where full-time stream takes me. And he was super supportive. He's like, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
But just because Shroud stepped down didn't mean that he left Cloud9 entirely. He was still on the team in case they needed another player last minute. He didn't actually officially retire from Counter-Strike until April 18th of 2018. Once again, people were super supportive about this decision and were excited to see where content creation could take him. And clearly, he was very successful because at this time of the announcement, he already had reached 3 million followers now on Twitch and was actually still rapidly growing. He was also playing a lot of games outside of just CSGO, PUBG and Apex Legends especially. Battle Royales were the next big thing online in gaming culture, plus they were a ton of fun. But the cool thing about Shroud is that his shift from CSGO to a variety of games didn't even hurt his channel at all. He was commonly pulling in thousands of viewers on every game he played no matter what it was, even in games wildly outside of FPS like World of Warcraft. Back then, it was impossible to switch games without half of your audience revolting against you. Many people, especially on Twitch, were there to watch one game and one game only. They didn't exactly care who was playing the game. But Shroud was actually different, and people were seemingly watching for him. And on YouTube, Shroud was regularly now getting millions of views on every single video. His most popular video at the time currently sits with over 16 million views.
What, he's lagged out? No, he's not. What's up?
Which that's just a crazy amount of views for a PUBG and VR video. To this day, that's his most viewed video on the channel, but on March 10th of 2019, Shroud hit another huge milestone on the platform. He hit 100,000 paid subscribers on Twitch. After Twitch takes their pretty massive cut, that's around $350,000 per month. And the profits there don't even count the additional donations that Shroud was getting every day. To put that into perspective, the second most subscribed creator at the time was Tin the Tatman, who only had about half of the subscribers that Shroud had. People outside of Twitch were also taking notice of Shroud's insane success. In 2019, he was nominated for Esports Awards Streamer of the Year, and he even won the Game Awards Content Creator of the Year.
In the category of Content Creator of the Year, for a streamer or content creator who made an important and positive impact on the industry this year, and the Game Award goes to Shroud. Congratulations.
But on October 24th of 2019, Shroud was about to announce a controversial change in streaming platforms.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah,
What you doing?
I'm making moves.
Benji misses you.
Oh, hi, Benji.
He would be moving to Mixer, Microsoft's best attempt at making a streaming platform, and he was not the only creator who did this. Just a few months before this, Ninja had also signed to Mixer as well. Of course, this was an incredibly controversial and big move. As a viewer, it's also incredibly annoying to jump to another platform just to watch your favorite streamer, especially if they've been streaming on the platform that you watch them on for 7 entire years like Shroud had. But unfortunately, Shroud's new partnership would not last for very long. Turns out that running a streaming service is difficult, and Microsoft simply did not want to deal with it anymore. So they shut it down, and on June 22nd of 2020, Microsoft announced plans to close Mixer for good. All future traffic to the website would be directed to Facebook Gaming instead. Of course, this left everyone wondering what will happen to Shroud and Ninja. Apparently though, they were given the option to either jump to Facebook for even more money or have their contract paid out. Both Shroud and Ninja decided to take the money instead of jumping over to Facebook because, let's be honest, nobody watches Facebook Gaming live streams. Shroud announced that he'll make his triumphant return to Twitch on August 11th, 2020. People immediately flocked to Shroud's page on Twitch, anticipating his arrival back to the platform, and in his first stream back the next day on August 12th, his stream peaked at over 500,000 viewers, which that's just completely insane. One of the most viewed live streams in history, and this was a good sign for his viewership to come. He would constantly receive tens of thousands of average views per stream for the rest of the year, and it seemed like he escaped the Mixer situation completely unscathed, which is great news for both him and his viewers. All of these business deals and crazy viewerships were making Shroud very, very rich. So rich, in fact, that he could actually afford now a $9.4 million mansion in Los Angeles. That's right, he was neighbors with huge A-list celebrities like Kanye and Will Smith. Shroud's house was huge. I mean, it should be for $9.4 million, but it's got 6 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. Shroud continued to be nominated for huge streaming awards as well. At the 2020 and 2021 Streamy Awards, he was nominated for the best live streamer, but unfortunately lost out. But in 2022, Cutie Cinderella started a brand new award show called the Streamer Awards that focused specifically on live streaming, whereas the Streamies were more focused towards YouTube and general content creation. Shroud was nominated for Gamer of the Year in 2022 and actually won.
And the winner is Shroud.
In July of 2022, Shroud briefly made a comeback to pro gaming, but not on any Counter-Strike team. Instead, he went on to sign with Sentinel's professional Valorant team.
Hey guys, I'm Shroud. And yes, I'm joining Sentinels and will be competing at the LCQ.
Unfortunately, his time in competitive Valorant didn't last very long at all. Their team didn't do well enough in the last chance qualifiers, and that was the end of his path. Since leaving Sentinels, Shroud still hasn't returned to professional gaming in any real way. But it was pretty cool to see him compete again, even if it wasn't in Counter-Strike. Despite momentarily joining a pro Valorant team, this didn't seem to affect his streaming career at all. In fact, it's bigger and better than ever. He's at over 10 million followers on Twitch and streaming to an average of 30,000 viewers. Plus, he still streams a ton of other games that he just wants to play. He didn't let Valorant completely take over his channel or audience. Recently, Shroud seems to be thinking more outside of the box when it comes to his creative endeavor. He's already been the king of Reddit and the king of Twitch like we talked about, so what does he do now? Well, he makes a video game, of course. On March 16th of 2023, he announced that he's working on a game with splash damage called Project Astrid, an open world survival shooter game.
I want to build the best game ever. That is my goal, and that's Splash Damage's goal as well.
This was a crazy announcement because Splash Damage is a massive company. They've worked on Halo, Gears of War, Doom, and more. Unfortunately, since this announcement over a year ago, we've heard almost nothing about his project. But that doesn't mean the game's canceled or anything. Games like this take quite a while to make, and it's normal to wait months or even years in between updates. So hopefully this game is still chugging along behind the scenes and we'll see it sometime soon. But actually, this isn't the only game that that Shroud is involved with making. In fact, just recently on August 1st, Shroud announced that he's making an entirely different game called Spectre Divide. And unlike the previous game Shroud announced, this game seems to be a lot closer to completion. In the announcement video, they included gameplay footage, and in the description, they allowed people to sign up for a stress test before a closed beta. There was a 10,000 invite limit on the stress test signups, and Shroud's fans blew that out of the water. The invites were literally closed within a day of it being announced. It'll be really interesting to see where this game goes, considering it's being made by one of the most well-known shooter pros ever. I mean, maybe this game will be the next big thing in competitive gaming. I wish Shroud the best possible in his game-making journey, and I know YouTubers aren't exactly known for creating great games, but hopefully Shroud will break out of that mold and prove himself to the community once again. If you did make it here, make sure you click the video that's on screen right now. I'm sure you'll love it. Drop a sub to the channel. We're gonna keep posting bangers like this, and I will see you guys all later. Peace.